4. You know why it's 3 or 4? Paper's expensive. Toner paper, how do you do it? The idea, this is a major shift in mentality. Become not an advertiser. Who here still does advertising? We all do it. Why? Because it's good for who? Who? Is it good for a seller? Who here believes advertising works? Anybody? Anybody? Who here has a listing that hasn't sold? Anybody? Anybody that's advertised that house? To me, you are telling the world, I suck! I'm terrible! I took your listing and I want everybody to know I'm failing. It's everywhere! Advertising doesn't work, and I'm going to prove it to you at the end unequivocally. Advertising is not what I need from my real estate professional. I need my professional to be a merchandiser. Is to say to me, listen, my job as a professional who's getting 7 and 8% in this market, if you're getting 6 and you're good, to me you're devaluing yourself, because if you could have gotten 6 in the last market we were at, now you need skill and talent, you should be at 7 and 8, but that's another story. The idea is, my agent needs to understand merchandise positioning. And here's what you do. You not only pull every available home that's available in the multiple listing of similar size and nature of the property that you're going on, but you also have to pull the available data of what else? For sale by owners. Are there a couple of those? Is that competition for your listing that's sitting on the market right now unsold? Does your seller know it exists? I don't know. Have you previewed it with the seller? Maybe. What if that FSBO was $25,000 less than yours? Listed privately with no commission. You think the seller needs to know that that property is competition for them? Absolutely. Inject in your business, change your mindset that you're not an advertiser, you're a merchandiser. You have a different value perspective of what you do. I can tell you a lot of the agents that you're competing against, they don't do this. They don't go on the listing appointment. They go on the listing appointment because they've been taught to do what? Present. Who here does listing presentations? Anybody? We all do them. You think a seller loves listening to the presentation? They're presented to death. They've been presented to by 2, 3, 4 other agents who are in there with the same story. And this seller's sitting there, not another one, not another explanation on the internet search engines and all the different portals. The seller doesn't want a presentation. What I hope you leave this afternoon is talking to sellers about giving them a listing education. Educate sellers, stop presenting. Tell the seller next time you have an appointment, I'd like to come over and I want to provide you with my listing education. And the seller's going to be, what? You mean presentation? No. I don't present, I educate. What do you think a seller wants? Do you think a seller wants a presentation or the seller wants an education? What do you think they need? They need an education. We have to start educating sellers on what counts. I've asked this question in a room of 1,000 people. Here's the question. If you took a listing today, no ad, no broker open, no caravan, other than priced it to sell at the lowest end of the pricing spectrum, would you need all that other stuff today in this market? You know the answer. Don't need it. The ads, the open houses, all those things, and it's just us in this room. I'm not going to tell anybody. That's all stuff for what? Us! Who does open houses? Why? Because it's good for who? Us! It's okay, keep doing them. I'm not saying don't. But the transition is converting ourselves into people that have a higher level of truth, transparency, and authenticity behind what we do. The agents that I speak to in here, and I work with here in New Jersey and around the country, it's interesting. There's agents in this marketplace, and I'm sure you know who they are, so there's some of them in this room, who are making more money in 2008. They're not complaining it's a bad market. They think things are great. Versus other agents who are sitting back in the coffee room eating a cake that's been there since last Thursday, screaming how bad the market is. What's the difference? You got 2 agents, same market, same environment, same people, same set of circumstances. What is the difference? Attitude and perspective, and changing the way in which we educate our client in what our value really is. What is our value? What is it really? It's to play a critical role in the critical decisions that people are making and give them better advice than they were getting before. Better advice than they can get on their own. So the challenge is to transition. Do you think New Jersey needs another realtor? No. They don't need another realtor. Don't wake up even saying you're a realtor. Wake up saying, I am a transaction manager, I'm a contract negotiator, and I am a problem resolution specialist. That's what we need, and that's what your sellers need. They don't need another realtor out there saying the same thing. Be different. How are you different? Ask yourself each day, what makes me different individually from everybody in my office versus everybody else that's out there? So that's on the seller side. How about on the buyer side? Anybody working with a couple of people wanting to see 3, 4, 500 homes? And when they find one, they offer 50% less because that's what Susie Orman said? Huh? Of course! We're schlepping buyers all over the planet Earth. And we get mad at who? The buyer. When we should be getting mad at who? Ourselves, because real estate, if you're not a good salesperson, it's a great business if you're socially inept and want someone to talk to for a weekend. And there's a lot of that. There's a lot of that. We even call them buyers. No. The guy that walks into 7-Eleven and walks out with a Slurpee, he's a buyer. Because he bought something. We put people in our car at $4.09 a gallon because we're in Rumson. And you forgot to fill up the night before it's on E and you gotta pay $4.12. We send them and we walk all over, we drive them, making appointments, we go in, we do nothing, we come back at the end of a long day. And we actually say to our spouse or significant other, I went to work today. Work? That's not work, because even in the most third world nations, you get paid a penny at the end of a week. In our business, we actually earn a net loss. And it's work. But that's what my manager told me. That's what my great-great-grandmanager told me, that this is what we do. It's self-induced pain. We're masochists. We love it. But it's our perspective. It's our perspective because in New Jersey, which is different than mostly every other state in the country, we work with buyers with no commitment. Not a commitment. Sure, they sign the CIS form that they never even read. But who here works with buyers under a 6-month contractual relationship that they are to work with you and only you? Should they buy a house with anybody or even want to see it, their hand must freeze and become paralyzed and dial your number and call you. Who works with them? Good for you. One person? Wait.
They also have to have the money down in escrow that they're going to use for down payment.
Look at you. You're an animal. She's got it all, but that's good. You're helping who? No, them. Because when you ask people to make a commitment to you, you've established a relationship of what? Expectation and accountability. You know why a lot of realtors don't want to sign a 6-month exclusive agreement? Because they know as soon as they meet with that buyer and they don't buy something that one day, guess what they're going to do? Ugh, I got to call them again. But agents that can work in a committed relationship, and I know for some of you single folks out there, that's a scary word, but try it with your clients. Committed relationship. Do we work that way in real estate? Of course we do. Who here? I have a house for sale that I want to sell. It's right here in Fairhaven. Can somebody come over to my house this afternoon and sell it for me, put it on the market? Who can do that here in this room? And I'll take your price. You pick the number. But I've just got one little issue. One little teensy-weensy thing that stops me is when you ask me to sign a listing agreement.